What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions.
Of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your day be merry and bright.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Decode Your Reality. My name is Logan. I will be your tour guide for this presentation of Christmas Decoded. That was kind of my little ring, being in the ring introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just having fun because this decode was a lot of fun. And it opened up many doors for me personally on what this entire holiday is all about. Beyond the paganism and the theological and the customary things to it, Christmas is the celebration of having the Jesus Christ superstar experience. That's really the basic fundamentals of it all. And if you bring the celestial into it, you're going to get the rising of the sun on December 25th, when it dies 22, 23, 24, and it rises on 25th. The basic fundamentals, ladies and gentlemen, of Christmas. So I'm going to start with some of this stuff. I'm going to start off with a bang. Here we go. You ready? Folks, this one's going to blow your freaking mind right here. I've been working on this thing for days. So we start with this here. Santa Claus. It wouldn't be Christmas without Santa Claus. Do you believe in Santa Claus? A lot of kids do. Santa Claus is tied to the demiurge. What's the demiurge? The demiurge is the God. What's the God? Well, it goes by many titles, names, origins, etc. What is the symbolic reference of Santa Claus? He's going down the chimney. Jesus Christ coming down from the light. Lucifer, the light bringer. Jesus, the light of the world. This 30. What does this mean here? It's all referencing the same thing, but here's kind of the comedy right off the get-go. When we connect numerology with alchemy, we're made up of a lot of these elements. Zinc is an essential element for your health. But here's the comedy from the Royal Society of Chemistry, and here's the description of the icon, the photograph that they chose for this element to represent it. And do they know? I mean, are they sitting down with Chaldean numerology knowing that Demiurge and Santa Claus all equal the number 30? So zinc is this icon, and it says that it's against an abstract background inspired by zinc roofing materials. And where's the chimney that Santa comes down? On the roof. So there you have it. And then if you just take, 30 and you add 65, you're going to get 95. And that's one half of the I am if you've been paying attention. But let's go a little bit further. What is this whole entire aspect of Christmas all about? Well, it's the light game. It's spirit, the light coming down into physical matter, entering into an avatar, that would be you, and then utilizing you as the character to experience this game called life. And we live in a predestined script. You're just along for the ride, so enjoy it. Be grateful for everything around you. Zinc is a 16, light is 16. We're playing the light game. Game is 13, the zinc and light. Okay, it's 29. I'm going to be showing that a little bit later on. But how about when we bring in another layer that has nothing to do with Christmas? It's the medicine cards, the 52 cards. If you don't know what these are, they're called the medicine cards. There's 52 cards in the deck. It's kind of their version of the tarot. This was created by a few Native American Indians. And they're not out to mock or screw you over. They were being used to create these cards. Because here we are synchronizing them. And, you know, if you watch The Matrix, Neo's told to follow the white rabbit. There's the 30, the rabbit. The rabbit's tied to the moon. So is it the sun and the moon ruling over us with the celestials? And is the moon the portal? Excuse me, is the moon the portal? We come down and follow the rabbit. And then the demiurge, you know, has its way with this entire reality, the puppet master, so to speak. But we keep going and, you know, we can get into some New Age, 1871, the Watchtower Society, which I belonged to when I grew up. They call it Jehovah, the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, but there it is. See, there's no separation with this. Keeping it in the same numerology cipher, Chaldean, the oldest known numerology cipher on the planet. There's that 30. And we're going to get into the Yahweh because that's going to be 26, but it's going to lead to the same origin nonetheless. And then we can bring in Lucifer, the light bringer. And you can see that phosphorus, which is kind of links the Greeks to Lucifer, is tied to the number 30. The atomic weight of phosphorus is 30. This is going to be isotope 31, which is going to be tied to the Christ. But the 15 with the protons of this is tied to the 15th card in the tarot called the devil. You see, that's what runs this reality. So there is obviously truth to that because the devil does this reality, but the devil is the God. So there's no separation. And it's just the light game. And here we are. Strapped in. You ain't getting out till you die. We don't even know what happens after that. But there's Lucifer and the Christ. They're tied together. Are they one and the same? Well, it's the celebration of Jesus being born, but there's Lucifer right in the background. And the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, the New Age name. This religion came out in 1871. Charles Taze Russell, etc., etc. I know it very, very well. I know theology very, very well. But here we bring in the cards of illumination. Typical deck of 52 playing cards. How magical and amazing these are. 52 cards matching the 52 weeks. 4 suits matching the 4 seasons. Each card has 13 cards per suit. The ace through the king, and there are 13 weeks per season. So these are heavily embedded into this reality. I hope you're a fan of these cards right now. They describe us to a T if you're willing to pay attention to your birth card, your spirit card. This is card number 30. Those of you that have the 4 of diamonds card. And, you know, to get the picture, because we think in pictures, here's the 4 of pentacles. This is going to be card 68, tied to the tetragrammaton in erbium. Erbium has a weight of 166. That's going to be the tetragrammaton in the English, but it's the Jack-in-the-Box card. That's why I got Jack here, because if you go and watch my Jack-in-the-Box Decoded, the fast food restaurant founded in San Diego County, the founding date had this card tied to it. It's the Jack-in-the-Box card. And of course, 4 means the square, the cube. This diamond is, you know, kind of looks like a square. But this card right here, I mean, completely represents, you know, the demiurge not wanting to let go. We would be the diamonds. And it doesn't, you know, this is like security, stability, not wanting to let go, not wanting to let you go out of this game. A lot of people think that you're in a prison here. Well, the body's a prison, but do we ever get out? That's the biggest question of them all. But this is what Christmas is tied to, folks. You're celebrating your Jesus Christ Superstar experience. You should be grateful for your life, that's for sure, instead of complaining and pointing fingers. But nonetheless, this is the comedy. that, the creator of Jack in the Box, which has this as its birth card, is tied to Santa Claus, the New Age name, Demiurge, etc., and Lucifer and the Christ. Of course, we're having the Jesus Christ Superstar experience, and we have it through this right here called the thalamus, part of the brain that represents the human being experience. There's the all-seeing eye from Egypt placed right over that brain. Everybody has this, ladies and gentlemen. There are many moving parts. You have the pineal gland, you have the cerebrum, and this is where the colostrum comes from. Santos Bonacci did a great rendition of that. I'm going to leave the description of that video and the link of this video right here if you want to watch it. Pretty amazing. It went viral. Kind of what inspired me to do this presentation. But clearly you can see that where's heaven? Well, it's in your brain. Everything is in your mind. Thalamus 27, heaven is 27, and if you want to call it the hypothalamus, that's fine. It's going to change it. But if you go to the Greek spelling of it through the original Greek spelling is going to be 27 as well. Where it originated from. A lot of words came from the Greeks. Really interesting. But there's heaven, and this is the egg, and et cetera, et cetera. And, this is where religion comes into play. Thalamus being 27, religion being 27, sports being 27, currency being 27. 27 tied to Jupiter. Jupiter, Zeus. We're going to get into Jupiter because it's quite a bit of information based upon Christmas and Jupiter, that's for sure. But this is what the card links to, representing heaven in your mind, representing religion in your mind, representing sports, people fighting over whose team's better, whose religion's better, whose way is the right way. That's what this card means. Right? So even with Christmas, is it pagan? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it this? Is it that? Again, just focus on being grateful for you being a human being, ladies and gentlemen. Do it every day. You don't need to do it on December 25th, but, the rising of the sun, the celestial above is kind of symbolic of that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that was the intro. Just getting warmed up. We're just getting warmed up. Let's talk about the topics that we're going to discuss for this presentation. In the number one position, White Christmas. And you heard the song playing in the very beginning of this by Bing Crosby. And I'm going to get into the reason why that song was playing, why I chose that song. Number two, Bethlehem, the birth city of the Christ. Number three, 666. Number four, Flux. We're going to get some Back to the Future in here. And number five, you're on television. You're live in front of the whole world. That was my version of Christoph. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, let's get into the very first topic now. I'm going to try to keep this flowing really good. I'm going to probably talk fast, like I'm doing a Micro Machines commercial. You ever seen that one? But this is going to be White Christmas. So let's get into this. And this is the reason why I chose the song for the beginning of this. And I'm breaking down this guy, Bing Crosby. Harry Lillis Crosby Jr. was his birth name. But the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, is because this song, written by Irving Berling, was the number one best-selling single ever. Ever. So, of course, it's going to get a nod on decoding it. I want to know, why did that song? A song about Christmas. Song about being born into this world, having the Jesus Christ Superstar experience. You might as well say Jesus and Lucifer, because they're going to be the Kundalini rising, the two serpents. But, it came out in 1942, and then we get the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm going to be bringing that into this presentation a little bit later on. Life, the universe, it's everything. 42. 42 is the mirror of the 24. So the White Christmas, this is why. And, notice that his birthday, his birth to death is Pi. Born on May 3rd, passed away on October 14th. That's 314. I mean, do you think he's trying to screw you over and mock you? Because he got these. Do you think he chose his date to die on this day to match up with Pi? Or somebody took him out? Big conspiracy on Bing Crosby. Someone's trying to pull the woolly over your eyes. That's exactly what some people think. I don't know. This is just me being comical, ladies and gentlemen. Some people hate me for it, but I don't really care. White Christmas, the title of the song. 47, which matches the word tetragrammaton. The Greeks coined that. The Greeks wrote the New Testament. And there's the 47. Sistine Chapel in the Vatican, that's 47. Washington, D.C. is 47. White House is 47. Georgetown is 47. The university in Washington, D.C. All 47. What do you think's running the capital of the United States? Well, it's the Tetragrammaton, of course. And it's going to be tied to silver. Silver, the 47. It's also going to be tied to the element titanium. The Titans got thrown down, but nonetheless, Bing Crosby is the name he went by professionally, and that's the 29. And the Silver City. You know, see, what does white Christmas mean? When you're born into this reality, you're born into the Silver City, which is why the Vatican has a silver key on their flag. Silver is the most electric element on the periodic table. I'm going to say that again. Silver is the most electric element on the periodic table. So esoterically, silver would represent the electric world. We're made up of electricity. You have a circulatory system, et cetera, et cetera. But these are the 29s. This is tied to Yaldabaoth, the demiurge which runs this reality. It goes by many names and titles, et cetera, et cetera. And so this is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. When you celebrate Christmas, you're celebrating, of course, the birth of you being a superstar. The star is born, all of us. If you want to be a star in your own movie, great. Most people are not. They're just extras in somebody else's. But nonetheless, it's you enter the prison. Okay? You enter the prison. You notice it's a 47. It's a match to white Christmas. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. The word enter is a match to white. And Christmas is a match to prison. Okay? Match to Christ. 26 is tied to iron in our blood, and I'm going to show that. But you know, this was an interesting synchronicity here. I was kind of going through some of the shows on Lucifer, trying to decode some things, look at the symbology of it, and I found this episode. I can't remember what episode it was, but there it was, the Silver City. Lucifer defeats Michael. Michael is exactly the identical spitting image of Thomas John. This is Thomas John Ellis. Thomas is Jesus' twin brother. His birth name is Thomas, who they casted to play Lucifer. It's all just a big comical shit show, man, down here. It's just fun and games, ladies and gentlemen. Not to be taken so serious. People just take it really too seriously. And he now becomes ruler of the Silver City. That's what they're going to tell you this is all about. He's got the 3 of clubs card, which is card number 16, tied to the word light, the light bringer, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, enter the prison and the white Christmas, tied to Jesus and Lucifer, Michael being Archangel Michael and Jesus. And then you're on television, okay? And I've got a title on that, one of these that we're going to be going through. But you see, come down here at the bottom, follow my narration. Enter the prison as a 47. And, you know, the 47 is tied to these 2 cards right here. We enter the world, okay? So enter is 21. We enter the world through the Stargate, through the portal, okay, through the astrological zodiac signs. And then we enter into the prison, which is this card right here, the 26 card in the tarot, and this is the 4 of clubs. And the 4 of clubs, of course, is the mental mind now, and it's happy home. That's what this card means. It means the structure and happy home. That's why you get these people with flowers in their hands and the castle behind them and the 4 pillars there, the 4 wands. And the 26th element in the periodic table is iron, and we have iron in our blood. It's essential, okay? If you don't have a lot of iron in your blood, you're going to get what's called anemia. Many people do. People die from it. And, you know, it's tied to you're on television because 73 is the 21st prime number as you enter into the world, and you're on television is 73. And we have this topic coming up. But there it is. You enter the prison, and the prison is your body, and your body contains blood. And you ain't getting out till you die. And this is the Jesus Christ Superstar experience, ladies and gentlemen. So when you enter into this game, your character, whatever you got chosen for, you're either going to form a utopian world or your job is going to be creating a dystopian world. Now, if you just look at your body has white blood cells, has an immune system, and it wouldn't have a job unless there was bacteria and parasites invading the body. Now, you would start to ask yourself a question, well, who created one of those? You think the devil is separate from the God and it created the bacteria and the parasites? No, the God created it all. So there wouldn't be any reason to have an immune system if there weren't something created called bacteria, parasites, etc. So there wouldn't be a reason to have a dystopian world if you didn't have a utopian idea or world as well. And this is golden age to dark age. This is where we're at right now. So it's a big shit show, you know? And everybody wants to be here, but everybody bitches and complains when they're here, and they just continue to feed this. And that's what we're doing. You see, utopia and dystopia is 56, and it's right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's the movie. You're in a movie, okay? That's what you're playing out. You're playing the Jesus Christ superstar, the Lucifer superstar, the light bringer, the light of the world. You're in the movie, and it's this element, barium. Barium is all about swallowing something, going down into the hole. Go study this element, okay? This is all about going down into the belly of the beast. 137 is the 33rd prime number. How about that? So there is the Christ, the death of the Christ. Okay, the age 33 vertebrae for the majority of you. And it just goes on and on and on. And this is really what it comes down to right here. This is probably the most important slide out of the entire presentation right here. It's Jupiter, Zeus. Zeus is the original Greek name for the planet Jupiter. Jupiter came after by the Romans, but I like to go back as far back as I can, and that would be Zeus, and it could even go back to Abraxas, and then you have his dad, which is Kronos, otherwise known as Saturn, Father Time. And there are many stories about Jupiter coming down and becoming a character on the world stage, playing out characters on the world stage. There's nothing new in the mythology. I think it's more truth than mythology, but here it is, ladies and gentlemen. You see, enter the prison, the white Christmas, matching white Christmas, and look at the match right here. It's Zeus entering time. The biggest planet, which has got the all-seeing eye on it, enters into his father's time. And now you enter into becoming a human being. Kronos being 26, iron is 26. We have iron in our blood. This is one of the stable isotopes, 56. 56 is lights, camera, action, creating the utopian and dystopian world at all times. The superhero and villain, hot and cold, left and right, up and down, etc., etc. And it's all about the 42. You go to the original Greek spelling of Zeus and Kronos, and bam, there it is. It's 40 frickin' 2. And you go right back to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Bing Crosby. All right, I'm going to show more of him in a little bit. But you see, Zeus is 18, Jesus is 18. Okay? And then Kronos is 24, and here's the Christ in the Greek, one of the spellings. Jesus. Okay, Jesus came on the scene in the New Testament, not the Old. I mean, you could say it's Yeshua, sure, but that's Joshua. But the story of the Christ is in the New Testament, not the Old. It's highlighted in the New Testament. And here is the original coining of that through the Greeks. It's 24, and we have 24 tied to our chromosomes, the X chromosomes. X marks the spot. 4 faces of God, 4 astrological signs, the 4 fixed signs, etc., etc. So it means hail Zeus. Hey Zeus, hail Zeus. So it's literally Zeus coming down into time. That's what this means. And now you're playing out the 42. And it's reincarnation. Do we ever get out? I don't know. I mean, you know, and here's the portal. Jesus being 18 tied to the moon. You know, Jesus and the moon are heavily connected. The moon is the god of sin. Jesus was there to take your sins away. You know, the moon runs the tides in water. Jesus was baptized in water. John equals 18 in the same cipher. So it's just this, the way we come into this world through the moon, celestial anyway. The sun and the moon are and I showed this through my 42 decoded. The reincarnation incarnation process is the sun, the moon, and earth. That's the trifecta. Okay, and you enter into the prison planet. Okay, and we're going to get into that. But let's get back to Bing Crosby singing the best-selling single of all time, White Christmas. And this is what this decodes on, Christmas, the Christos, which is the fluid that goes up and down the chimney called your spinal cord. His birthday on May 3rd. Well, it's 5-3, and here's the Hebrew spelling. A lot of people say, no, it's not Jesus, it's Yeshua. Okay, fine. Well, so we'll bring that in there. We'll satisfy that little itch you got. There it is. You want to go all the way back to Judaism? No problem. Here it is. It's the 53. And now you're going to get into this element right here, which is essential for the thyroid. Starting with the letter T, the cross is a T, and the letter Y. But it's iodine. It's 1/2 of the I am. It's 126. 26 is iron. It's 126. This 53rd element right here. And this guy is tied to it, man. Singing the best-selling single of all time, Bing Crosby. And then here's the comedy, okay, with this guy. This guy didn't have a choice. Whatever spirit incarnated into his life, I mean, handsome dude, great voice, probably was very wealthy, probably had a great life, got a great code. Why did he get that? And maybe some of you that are complaining you didn't get a good code, maybe you were a real shitty person in your past life. Who knows? That's why it's good to be a good person in this life, right? Make sure you check things off the box. But here's his birth card, May 3rd. It's the 3 of spades. The 3 of spades, and here's the picture of what that 3 of spades means, and this represents coming down and playing the game. It's the 3 of hearts. 3 of swords, excuse me. And what does this mean? Heartbreak. It means suffering, piercing. You love, you have parents, your parents pass away, you get married or you get out of a relationship. The heartbreak, I mean, that's all that's what we experience here in this reality, folks. It's a lot of beautiful bliss here, but it also incorporates suffering and pain, heartbreak, for sure. And what's so interesting about him having this as his birth card is he's tied to this element right here called molybdenum, because this is the 42nd card, again, going back to life, the universe, and everything. Say it isn't so. Yeah. May 3rd, 3 of spades, 42nd card in the deck, and it's lead. So it's spirit coming down. It's the Christ coming down and becoming lead. This means lead. Comes from the Greek word molybdos, and it means lead. And here's the 95. And if you add on the Americium, those of you that have been paying attention, it's the I am. This is just an extension of that. It's the I am. And if you add up 53 and 42, you're going to get 95, which is Americium. So this is a big piece of the I am. And so what do you think he got for a code? I mean, how close to source is this guy right here? Why did he get that code? So we just keep going, and I'm going to bring in now, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to take a little bit of narration. Just stick with me. A lot of you want to know how the cards of illumination work, typical deck of poker cards. Stick with me. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts here. Just let me narrate this for you, and I promise it'll make sense. So what we're looking at, starting over here, this chart right here is the 0 solar spread chart. Every year, these cards move. This is ground zero. We come out into this world, and you're birthed into this world through your mother's womb. You then instantly are on this bingo chart. And the reason why I have this chart right here is because all these spaces are numbered. Okay? And this is card 52. The King of Spades, which represents Earth, the King of Earth. That's why spades in this methodology means Earth. In the tarot, it's not. The diamonds are going to represent Earth, but these came first. So the King of Spades is the 52nd card. It's the 52nd spot. And it goes from right to left, and it zigzags, okay, all the way down to the very first spot right here. And so I have Jesus and Christ both equaling 18. So I'm going to look for space 18. There it is. And notice that it sits in the Saturn and Jupiter line, which I've already shown. This is a game being played by Jupiter and his daddy Saturn. Okay, it's Father Time and Jupiter Zeus. And the 18th space for the cards of illumination at ground zero is that 42nd card in the deck. How about that? The 40s, there it is. And it's tied to lead. So now when you enter into this game called life through the Jesus Christ Superstar experience, the Lucifer's experience, light slowed down into physical matter, you now become lead. And now it's lead to gold, and everything is all about energy exchange. And it's life, the universe, everything. And if we look to space number 42, well, what card represents that right there? It's the 2 of hearts, the 2 of fire. And to get the picture, we're just going to go and right here. Here's the card for the tarot that represents the 2 of hearts. This is the card of communion. This is forming a partnership. So what is this telling all of us? You come down to play the game of life through time. Okay, and Zeus utilizing all that like a puppet on strings, and then you form a union, and it's through Venus and Neptune, and you have Neptune in there. Neptune is the ruler of dreams. Life is but a dream. So it's the dream of love. It's the male chasing the female. That's the whole story of the fallen angels. It's the male chasing the female, right? That's what it's all about. It's falling in love. It's the greatest feeling in the world, but that's what this whole reality is based upon, because the game needs players. If no one humped, there wouldn't be any players left. All right? There wouldn't be any players left. The game needs players in order for the game to experience itself. So that's how you read all this stuff. These are very basic fundamentals, but clearly you could see how it's tied to the Jesus Christ experience right here. And it's also tied to the Truman Show. I had decoded this, and what do you know? This movie came out, it premiered on June 1st. It was out in theaters on June 5th, but it premiered on June 1st. And what do you think the June 1st card is? That's right. It's the 3 of spades. And then through the movie, it was free Truman. They wanted to get him the hell out of there, right? They wanted to get him out of there. They wanted to get him out of the heartbreak. Free Truman, right there. And this is tied right to the Truman Show, ladies and gentlemen. Directed by Peter Weir. Peter having the upside down cross. And this is the other piece of it right here. And, when you look at this, let me zoom in. So this is the master life configuration, the ego card, which is what I showed you just earlier ago, the 0 position. And then right here is the spirit. It's spirit coming down to be physical matter. Okay. And you have the 6 of diamonds and the 3 of spades. 6 and 3, 63. And the mirror of that is 36. Jesus Christ is 36. And there is the upside down cross. We live in the upside down world. Doesn't mean that it's devilish and satanic. And that's not what it means. Okay. You're in the inverted world. You're in the upside down world. If we're looking from above, you wouldn't be upside down. Okay. So you just got to look at this from these layers. And remember, Saturn and Jupiter are having their hand in this reality, or so it seems, in such a big way. But let's get into the astrological positions. Those of you that are fans of astrology, I've also included the Chinese over here. I have this right here is December 25th, 2022. So it's today. I'm recording this on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2022. And I decided to use the time of 6:03 a.m. to kind of match the cards. Now, I don't know what time the whole story of no one knows if Jesus was a real dude, and we don't even know what time he was born. It's all speculation. Some say it wasn't December 25th. Folks, no one will ever know, okay? But I'm just going what's written into the script. And a lot of people on this world stage, they celebrate Christmas. They don't even know what it means, but they celebrate it. Okay, they celebrate it. So we have to bring in the astrological positions here to give you a bigger picture and exactly how this reality works from the heavenly realms, the celestial. So I have right here the Western, okay, the tropical, those of you that are fans of the precession of the equinox, and then the Vedic, the sidereal, the fixed star positions. And these both are going to have their say. There cannot be like, well, this one's better than that one. No, they're both 50-50. Okay, and what you're going to notice is, now the houses are not really all that matter because we don't know the time, so these may move, but it's the position of the sun. We're concerned about the sun here. I mean, there's a lot of movement. You have Venus here, you have Mercury there, and this is 2022, so this may be different. If Jesus really was born and you pulled up the astrological chart, I doubt that these Venus and Mercury will be in this position, but the sun will, and the sun will be in Capricorn. And the Capricorn, I decided to overlay the nakshatras over the Western to show you, get a deeper meaning. And it's this Uttara Ashada, which means the undefeated one. So the sun is in Capricorn, ruled by Kronos. And it's in the 21st nakshatra. 21 is tied to the word enter. Remember that. Remember, it's white Christmas. White is 21. And over here in the sidereal, which is based on the fixed star position, we have a variation. We have the sun being in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, right? Jupiter. So we have Saturn and Jupiter. There's Father and Son right there, representing December 25th, representing the rise again of the sun, the birth of the sun. And the sun in the sidereal is in the 19th nakshatra called Mula. And 19, of course, tied to the word apex. The word apex is 19. It's tied to the sun card itself in the tarot. But Mula is the nakshatra of establishing roots. Establishing roots. 19 is tied to the word battery in Chaldean numerology. So this is what Christmas looks like from an astrological perspective. Forget about all the other planets and the houses. It's what nakshatra and what zodiac signs. So we have Sag and Capricorn. We have Jupiter and Kronos and the sun all playing out their role for December 25th. And if we come over to the Chinese, we have the monkey representing Jupiter and Sagittarius, and we have the rooster representing Kronos and the Uttada Ashada, the 21st nakshatra. Now, you know, what's interesting about the rooster, what does a rooster do? What is it known for? Cock-a-doodle. You know, I'm not even going to try to do it. I was going to do it, but anyway, it blows its horn. And when does it blow its horn? At first light, when the sun rises. Well, what is Christmas all about from the celestial? It's when the sun dies during around 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of December. And then on the 25th, it starts to rise again. That's Jesus being in the tomb for 3 days. Okay? And this is the rooster now. The rooster representing Capricorn, representing Saturn, and being in the 21st nakshatra, and the word enter is 21. The world card is 21. So you can see they both have their merit right here, establishing the root and then entering the game once again through time. It's Zeus entering time, bound by the laws of time. Okay, the monkey representing man, because the monkey is going to look it does look a heck of a lot like a man. And we have the rooster, which tells you about the light coming into our reality at the sunrise. Okay, and then you have the opposites, the rabbit and the tiger, which is going to be Cancer and Gemini. The prison and then the moon. Mercury and the moon run this, and I've already shown this in another decode. These four are the main proponents of coming in and out of this reality, or at least coming in anyway. So that's the astrological, and then here's the tarot to get the picture. Okay, this one right here, the sun in the Western is going to be in the 21st. Here's the world card. It's the sun entering the world again after it dies, and then here it's the 19th. It's the sun itself. So these are both going to have their own say. There's no one that's good or better than the other one. If you're a fan of astrology, hopefully you're studying both, because they both have their say. I prefer to use the sidereal because you get the nakshatras, but you can overlay the nakshatras onto the Western and get a broader spectrum of how this reality works. It's pretty amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get into the second topic. Are we having fun yet? Man, I'm having a blast. Let's get into the next topic called Bethlehem, the birth city of the Christ in Israel. Okay, Bethlehem. And I'm going to start off with this right here. I'm going to show you the source code. I'm going to show you how we live in a predestined script. And this is the script, the symbols, the letters. This is what rules us behind the scenes. Every word you can break down into numbers, which you can break down into digits, which you can break down into mathematics. And this is no exception. This is a perfect prime example. A lot of you want to know how I decode. This is a very simple methodology right here, a simple example. So first we start with numerology. Okay, Chaldean. You don't have to deviate away from Chaldean, folks. If I'm going to suggest just get rid of all the other ciphers you're using until you establish your base. Then start to gravitate off and start to use some more. Okay, a little tougher at first, but it's more gratifying once you start to get one as your foundation. But this one right here, this is the scripture, John 3:16. Okay, it's very famous. And it's a 464. This is the King James version. Doesn't matter what version you use. I can find it in any of them, but King James being the most popular on the world stage, 464. And I'm going to take the 464, and then I'm going to go into this right here, into the string of the golden ratio. I'll leave the website of this, of where I found this from, in the description of this video, in case you want to just click on it and start to use it. You can plug in any digit. You could start at the first position. There's a lot of variations, but here is 464 digits past the 1 point. This is the golden. Why the golden ratio? Because it's tied to the sun. It's tied to the moon. It's tied to the light of the world. It's tied to the light bringer. It's tied to Lucifer as well, ladies and gentlemen. But here we go, and then we take we take all the digits, and then we add them all up, and we get 2,089. And then I'm going to go into mathematics. And lo and behold, look at what number it is, ladies and gentlemen, for the primes. Primes are very special numbers, very powerful, standalone numbers. It's the 316th prime number, matching the actual chapter and verse of this scripture. So this is the source code. See, this is a predestined script that we're living out. That's why all this stuff matches up like this. One of the most famous scriptures out of the entire Bible, showed at sports games, etc., etc. I've broken this down before. It's tied to this and the digits of phi, the golden ratio, which is number 21 in the Greek alphabet. The Greek alphabet, phi is 21. That's enter the world. Okay. And then you have the Society of Jesus. I broke this down. Check out my Society of Jesus Decoded, because here's the spelling of one of the alternative spellings of the Christ, how Society of Jesus spells it. They spell it right here. This is through the Latinized expression of it. And here, when you go all the way back of where they got that from, it's from the Hebrew, and there it is. There's the 316, folks. Can't miss it. It's all right there. So you can clearly see. So, when you realize what this organization's all about, they're the militants defending the church, right? And there's a lot of Yaldabaoth in here tied to Leo the lion. Leo's ruled by the sun. You got the mighty star Regulus, which has got the sickle in there. There's a lot of variations to take a look at here, but check out my Society of Jesus Decoded. It's all tied to John 3:16, ladies and gentlemen. The militants. Okay, but let's get into actually breaking down the word Christmas a little bit. Christmas being the 26th. I told you we'd get into the Chronos and the Yod He Vav He. Here it is. Christmas being 26. The Yahweh character is going to be, through its original spelling now, is 26. Yahweh's 23, which is going to be tied to the pineal gland, but Yahweh in the original, the Yod He Vav He, the 4 letters, the Tetragrammaton, 26. And then we go into Chronos. Saturn's going to be 21, but Chronos is 26. But see, when you connect all these, you can clearly start to see the picture. So what is the Yod He Vav He? Well, it's Chronos. It's got the Star of David right on it. Okay, it's Father Time. And then it's when you bring in alchemy, tells you clearly that when you're born into this world, you are now a star. A lot of people don't act like it. They're willing to just be an extra in somebody else's movie, because they're too busy fighting about and trying to, my way's the right way and you're wrong. And they don't realize how this reality works. But there's the iron. 56 being one of its stable isotopes. 55 is its most average, but isotope 56, and remember, lights, camera, action, when you come in and play this game of life as a Jesus Christ superstar. So going back to the Bethlehem, the coordinates, and showing you more of the source code. Bethlehem, 31 degrees north, 35 degrees east. You add that up, you're going to get 66. That's one digit short of 666, and one digit more than 6, which is carbon, which is going to be tied to us as human beings. But bringing it into the string of the golden ratio, again, it's light slowed down into physical matter, coming down into that manger. There it is, 66 digits past the 1 point, and look at what you get. 317. If you take that 1 away, you're going to get 316, and you're going to go right back up right here, and you're going to get the John 3:16. Because these numbers, they're going to encroach. 3:16 and 3:17, they're going to pair up. They're going to move into the 3:18. You just got to know how these numbers work through the source code. But in this example, the Bethlehem 317, and of course, right there, bam, it's the prime number, the 66 prime. I mean, this is a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. This is the source code. This doesn't mean Jesus was a real dude, but I'm not saying he wasn't. I can't accept or deny it. I'm kind of neutral to it. It doesn't matter. The idea makes it real that he was. But all I know is I'm real, you're real listening to this, and you and I are having the Jesus Christ superstar experience. That's what this whole thing's about right here. So just be grateful for your life instead of complaining. Anyway, we bring in alchemy now through this methodology of latitude, longitude, and alchemy, as I like to often do. And the birthplace of Jesus is gallium and bromine. And it's interesting because gallium, if I go to the periodic table and I show you gallium, it's going to represent, once again, the rooster. You see that right there? So we have another connection to the tropical astrology, the sign of Chinese, the rooster, and Chronos right there. It's pretty much a dead giveaway. We go back here and, we have Chronos and being tied to the rooster in Chinese. Pretty easy to see right there, the connections. But it's gallium coming down and pairing up with bromine. and bromine having a 79 weight. 79 is gold. So now playing the game of life, and now this is the energetic exchange of energy is all about. But if you add these up, gallium and bromine, you're going to get 149.627, and just like that, 149 is the 35th prime number. And this is why this simulation topic has a lot of merit. Like, what is it? What do you mean we're living in a simulation? You're inside of a movie, folks. It's a simulation. Simulation. Sim, pi. Sim, you is you. You're having a sim, you, and then elation, relationship. Simulation, 35. 35, and it's right there. It's pretty easy to see, ladies and gentlemen. We're all having the Jesus Christ Superstar experience. It's an experiment. Mankind's an experiment, I say. Anyway, and even bromine is a 26, which matches Christmas. This is a big deal for bromine because it's 149, and that's what gallium and bromine equal. That's why I brought this up here. And it's tied to Kronos, okay? So you can clearly see the connections are really heavily tied to Kronos and Jupiter as well. What about the tarot that represents Bethlehem's coordinates? 31 plus 35 is 66. Here's the 66 card in the tarot deck. It's the 2 of Pentacles. Notice that it equals the number 69. So when you incarnate into this reality and you get a brain, there's your brain. It's the yin yang. It's masculine and feminine. The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. Okay, and this is Jesus Lucifer playing out right here. Okay, it's good cop, bad cop. It's duality. All right, and you got to juggle both. That's what you're doing as you come down here to raise the Kundalini. Because here is the Kundalini, and the 2 of Pentacles here, okay, came from the 2 of Diamonds. And the 2 of Diamonds is the 28th card in the deck. It's tied right to Lucifer. And Lucifer is tied right to the Kundalini. And Kundalini is tied right to the Ida and Pingala, which are the 2 serpents that intertwine these 7 base chakras. Okay? It's really easy to see this, ladies and gentlemen. Right? So the whole point of the chakra system is to raise the Kundalini, but really you want to stay in the heart space center. This is neutrality, balance. Yes, coming up here, Jesus said, let thy eye be single. But if you come here, do you just fall right back down again? Because this is the Christos. The raising of the Christos is going to raise up to the 6th chakra. But do we want to get to number 7? This is where the 144,000 hang on. This has got 144 petals, or 144,000 petals, if you will. This has only got 2. This represents duality, the Ida and Pingala. This is Shiva and Shanti. All right? It's creation and destruction. That's what this whole number 6 is all about. 6 being the first perfect number. 6 being the last day of creation in theology. 6 being tied to carbon. So if we make our eyes single, do we get out of the game? Well, theoretically, you may just keep yourself in this loop because it's 6 and 3. Remember that 36 and 63? This is the belly of the beast. This is where we're at, the solar plexus, where the sun hangs out. And this is the lower chakras. This is where hell is. That's why it's red and orange. This is where fire. This is where satiation. This is where sex. This is where acid is. You don't want to stay here. You want to be right here. Service to others. Just right there. Neutral base. This is where the blood is. 7.3, 7.4, right there. Okay? And then if you get a little too acidic, you come up here to heaven and you get base again. Right? This is always going to be a push-pull here in this Kundalini, in this representation right there. And there's kind of the description of it, the Ida and the Pingala, tied to Lucifer, tied to the Christ. I mean, right there, you're juggling the 2 serpents with this right here, all based upon the birth city of Jesus Christ. Okay, really interesting, right? All right, let's get into the next topic, ladies and gentlemen. 666, the number of the beast. 666. And why is that? Because it's tied to carbon. See, carbon is what we're made up of. I mean, we have calcium in there in our bones, but carbon is the king of all elements because it's mankind. The triple crown is what it is. And 6 plus 12 is 18, and Jesus is going to be 18. Christ is going to be 18. It's right there. But what's interesting is when you say through numerology, 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, there's that 137. And remember, I'm going to go back here and we're going to take a look at the 317 here with the 66 digits of the golden ratio, including the 1 point, light coming down to become physical matter through the birth city of Bethlehem. Pretty much a no-brainer here when you connect it all, and we end up playing out the movie, okay? We become carbon-based. We become the Jesus Christ Superstar experience. And it's all about barium. Again, barium is tied to the game of light, okay? If you go study barium, it means going down, swallowing a meal. It's light being swallowed down the hole. Right here. That's what barium is. It's light swallowed into the hole and coming down into life. 137 being tied to the fine structure constant, being tied to time travel. And it's right straight up through the numerology. It's light. It's light slowed down into physical matter. And now, just like that, you're having an experience called life. And now you're part of the movie. You're in a movie, folks. That's exactly what we're playing out. What is your character? What's your code? Are you studying yourself? You might be somebody who's just pointing the fingers, getting mad at those on the world stage, and it's like, I got to go out there and do my job. Okay, cool. But ladies and gentlemen, man, like how much of your gas are you giving away? Like a lot of you could take a lot of that back and have a much more blissful life. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep going right here. So barium and carbon seem to be the two elements. So it's light being swallowed down, and now you become carbon, okay? You become carbon. And when you add these two up right here, you're going to get this element right here, samarium. All right, samarium. 56 and 6 is 62. And you're going to get samarium. There's that SAM. It's 314. Samarium. And if you take the samarium has several isotopes. One of them is 149. 149 is the 35th prime number, and we go right to so you can see that it's light slowed down into physical matter. This is what Christmas is all about. The gift of life, giving presents, being in the present moment, that's Christmas. Celebrating life, being grateful for your life. That's the most important thing out of anything else is gratitude. That you actually got an avatar. There may be a waiting list to get in this reality, and there are a lot of people that just bicker and complain. Bitcher, that's a new word. They bicker and complain about this reality. It's not fair, and they're doing this, and it's them, and they go do something, folks. Instead of bitching about life. Man, and here is, I did Life is But a Dream. And this slide right here, showing samarium, is tied to the I am. This is going to equal 369, but 53 and 95 is going to be 148. I told you samarium has several isotopes, 148, 149, these numbers encroach. But this is all telling you about life is but a dream. We're being role played. We're in a story. We're in the matrix. All of this, the 17 tied to the star card. Check out my Life is But a Dream decoded. And, it breaks down to this right here. If you take the 149 and you take samarium, and then you take this element right here, chlorine, because it's 17, but it has the weight of 35. Going back here, remember, life is 17, matrix, story, role, okay? Angel is 17. You're an angel down here. A fallen angel, but you're an angel. 17. And you add these up. This is what you're going to get, folks, right here. It's lead to gold, okay? That's what this whole reality is based upon. This whole simulation. 35. And it's lead to gold. And you're gold. That's what you're giving off. Greeks coined it ambrosia. 62 plus 17. 79. Found from this 149 and 35. And we just keep going on. And here's kind of the last couple slides for this. Is, the 17 is tied to the 7 because it's the prime number. And then there's the 7 chakras. And the 17 is the star card. Going back here. And you're in a story. You're in a movie. You're in the matrix. 17 is tied to angel, the role, and your life. Okay? And this is all about the human being experience. And this is lead to gold right here. The exchange of it all the time. Constantly through the emotions that you react to. Love and fear, love and fear, love and fear, love and fear. So this whole reality is based upon. And it's inescapable, folks. So this right here is seemingly what we're playing out. I mean, it's a carbon-based life. Christmas starts with the letter C. Carbon starts with the letter C. You can't miss it. It's right there. C is the third letter. 3 is pi. 3.14. The element that represents the 3, if I go here, is lithium. You know what they give lithium to? People that have brain disorders. Bipolar disorder. I think we're all bipolar. Lithium, the brain, is tied to the Christ and carbon. And here's the card that represents Christmas, folks. The Spirit card. Spirit coming down into physical matter. It's the 6 of hearts. And I got this wrong. It should be 42, but I got a typo there. It should be 42. This is the 42nd card. The 6 of cups. So this is a fire card now, right? It's spirit, plasma, saying, I'm going to go play that game, and now it's all about this. This is chivalry and nostalgia and, a male giving the female flowers. Yeah, he wants to get in her pants. I mean, I'm just being fun with this, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what this whole reality is based upon. The male chasing the female to create and procreate and make players on the world stage, have families. And the beauty of that, and become carbon-based. That's what Christmas and the Christos, it's up and down with that sacred fluid, right? Up and down, it travels alchemically, that is. So there's that. So let's get into the next topic, ladies and gentlemen. I got 2 topics left. This one's going to be on the flux. The flux. And we're going to get into some Back to the Future. And I had done this in my 33 Decoded. I had shown this, that here is a typical illustration of the Jesus Christ on the cross. And it's in countless churches around the world. Forms the letter T, yeah, but it looks a hell of a lot like the letter Y. It's going to be in the form of Neptune. There's the Neptune trident there as well. And remember, Neptune is one of the co-rulers of the Piscean age. So there's kind of a no-brainer there with the trident. But it's clearly the flux capacitor. There's the 88. And what is the 88 tied to? Well, it's tied to these 2 elements right here. It's the sun god Ra, radium, the 226, 26. Remember, 26 is tied to iron. It's 226, the 200 fallen angels. 88 miles an hour is linked to time travel. And then we get into this element right here called yttrium. And I mean, the letter is the letter Y. What do you think this is right here? What do you think this is right here? Yeah, it's the letter T, but it's also the letter Y. And there's the 88. And this spells out the word Ray. Those of you that have the word Ray in your names, man, rejoice, powerful people. You got to own that space, though. I would be if I had that name. Pretty damn amazing code. What you could tap into, But people don't look at these things. I would be if my name was Ray or I had the middle name. Man, Michael Ray, if you're watching, you know. And there's right there. This is the numerology of Halil, which is Lucifer. Ooh, uh-oh. Wait a minute. Is this Lucifer on the cross? Well, you got to be the judge of that, folks. But let's keep going. And then we go into Back to the Future. This movie, classic movie, came out on July 3rd. That's 73. Remember, 73 is the 21st prime number tied to the word enter. But here's the card that represents Back to the Future. It's the Queen of Diamonds, the Red Queen, right? Which runs the actors and actresses. That's what we all are here, folks. We're all actors and actresses playing out our screenplays. But the sad part, I say sad because, there's a lot of people, majority, they don't even know what their screenplay is because they're too busy paying attention to somebody else's movie. They don't care about decoding themselves. Well, in this age of Aquarius, we're seemingly moved into or have moved into or moving into, it's all about I know thyself. So you should get busy doing that. Decode your kids. That's what I would do as I was a dad. But this Queen of Diamonds, and we get into the flux capacitor again, and it's the prison planet. You see, prison planet's 52, flux capacitor's 52, and it's the flux capacitor. Flux is 22. There's Michael battling the dragon. Michael fought the dragon. Yeah, 22 plus 22 is 44. 44 is tied to the gold currency. It's all about currency down here, folks. That's what this is all about. And we're getting into the prison planet. 52 being tellurium, tellurium coming from the Latin word tellus, meaning earth. 127 being the 31st prime number, Jesus being born in Bethlehem, which a 31 degree north latitude. It's all easy to see this kind of stuff. But there it is, man. The ride or die. What is ride or die? The major part of ride or die. There's going to be other ways to look at this. But the ride or die is earth. It's earth. It represents the Christ. It represents the black sun, which is earth, because it doesn't give off any of its own light. The adversary. It's earth. How beautiful earth is. But it's tellurium right there. And Jesus was born on the 31st degree north latitude. You see? Pretty easy to see this kind of stuff. Even Bethlehem, through the original numerology, through the Hebrew, is 22. And there it is. Go study Back to the Future and the director, and go study the heritage and their background, their ethics, and not their ethics, their background. You're going to find a lot of Judaism in there, folks. Okay, a lot of Judaism in there, and that's just the way it is. Tied to the Tetragrammaton. You're going to see the number 99 in the movie quite a bit. Tied to the alchemology of Tetragrammaton. Tied to Einsteinium. But it's the prison planet, folks. That's what and the body is the prison. Okay, the body is the prison, and going further, we have titanium there as well. But Jesus says, "Ye are the salt of the earth," sodium, and of course, what is the brain made up of? Well, it's a mass made up of primarily water, and water has fluids, and the bodily fluids have sodium in them, salt. Okay, this is all telling us the story. We're all having the Jesus Christ experience right there in the Greek. The Christos, this is partly what this decode's about. The Christos, the fluid that runs up and down alchemically now, right? To get crucified through Golgotha in the brain, to have the enlightenment. It's a 22, okay? Representing time travel. We're all moving through time. And there's Pluto there, there's plutonium, that's 94. That's going to be tied to Lucifer as well. But nonetheless, we're going to bring in this right here. So Christos, through the reduction, going to the single digits of the numerology of Christos, is a 22. But if we keep them in their original formats, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get the compound numbers, and we're going to get a total of 130. It's still going to reduce down to the number 4, just like this does. But it's going to link to this element right here called xenon. Xenon. Phosphorus equals 54 in numerology, tied to Lucifer. Jesus and Lucifer, they're doing the dance. Okay? They're doing the Kundalini dance inside your body right now. And it's light, slow down to physical matter. But it's Xenon, the stranger. This means stranger. It's the stranger in your head. There's someone in my head, but it's not me. And here's the original breakdown of Xenon. It's called Xenos. It's 25. And just like that, bam, there's the Y. There's the Y right there. Okay? There's the T, but I'm going to show you the T in a minute, but there's the Y, and it's 25. So this means the stranger in my head. Remember, if you watch They Live, it was News Station 54 that broadcasted the hypnotic trance. All about the church. But there's the 25. Adversary is 25 in Chaldean numerology. And what's really interesting is the day of Christmas. 359, 360. 360 is going to give you the complete circle. But 359, 360, you add that up, you're going to get 719. And it's the 128th prime number. And, Xenon has several atomic weights. This is also going to link to tellurium, because tellurium will have 128. But Xenon is going to rule over the earth because it's going to be the stranger in your head, the 54. And there's the 128. So what does Christmas mean? Well, the voice in your head. See, I say that owns you. You don't own it. The voice owns you. The thoughts you have, you're experiencing the thoughts, but you're not creating the thought. The thoughts are popping in your head. Right? And they're coming from somewhere. They're coming from somewhere. And it's the stranger. This means the stranger. If I go to Xenon, just so we can be crystal clear, we go to Xenon here, and we can see that it's right here. Means stranger, Xenos. And there's the flash of creation right there. Well, what is the Xenos character? Well, it's the stranger. And just like that, you could see the 25 right there. And there's the Y with the Christ. Okay? But we also have the T, because the cross is a T. And the T is going to be connected to the Y. They kind of look similar. One goes across, one kind of forms that V-shaped, but they're very similar in their shape structures. And T is the 20th letter. And when you say 20, it gives you 25. And then you go right back to the Y again. And then 20 and 25 is 45. That's going to give you rhodium and the rosy cross and the Rosicrucians and the rose that gives the bees honey and, you know, Pandora's box, et cetera, that we're all playing out. But we have a birthday down here in duality, and this is where we're going to get the T. You know, Jesus saves. Yeah, the T, he saves you and he reincarnates you back into the game of life. Not a bad deal, right? Life's beautiful, especially if it's the golden age. If you got a good code right now and you're having fun, well, then be grateful for it. If you got a shitty code, well, turn that around. You know, maybe it's just you complaining about your life and focusing on the wrong things. But the T, being the 20th letter, is tied to the word duality, okay? And it's tied to this element right here. 99% of the calcium we have is in our bones and teeth. There's calcium. Calcium's average is 40. 40 is death and regeneration, but this is the most abundant. 39 is going to be tied to Lucifer through the original Hebrew spelling. And then 20 plus 39 is 59. The game of life is 59. We all have a birthday, 20, okay? We all are born on the cross, right? You're crucified down here, living out a life of duality with the birthday. And even the medicine cards, they give you the comedy. Because I say we're an experiment, just like mice. Why do scientists experiment? All those poor mice and rats in a laboratory. What are they being experimented on for? For the future of mankind. But when people don't pay any attention to that, especially if you're working in a laboratory and you're injecting mice with stuff, imagine all those poor mice, right? But imagine all those poor insects that you step on and you kill when you walk outside. You're a stone cold killer. All of us are. It's how this reality works. It's not even real, this reality. It's a big movie, whatever's watching us. But we're all little mice down here inside the labyrinth trying to figure it out, right? Just trying to figure it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the last topic for this presentation. You're on television. You're live in front of the whole world. That was my Christoph, my Truman Show. We're in the Truman Show. You're having it. And here it is, to recap with this carbon. Christmas means carbon. It means the Christ. It means you coming down and becoming a human being. And when you celebrate Christmas, one of the things you're celebrating is life. Celebrating being a human being, being grateful for that. Forget the trees and the stars and the pagan and the Saturn. Forget all that stuff. It's celebration of life. That's what the main foundation of it is. And I was raised in a religion that said this was pagan and bad. And if you want to layer with that, by all means, go ahead. Many things have many meanings. But the foundational root of Christmas means you are a human being. Welcome to Earth. What's your code? What's your script? Got to find that out if you want to have the best experience. Bringing the tarot into this, here's the hangman. The 12th card is the hangman. There's the 12. Being born into carbon. Diamonds are made out of carbon. Some of the most expensive jewels on the earth, carbon-based. And it's the hangman. This is going to be tied to Pisces. Remember, Jesus, born of a virgin, and the opposite of Virgo is Pisces. Pisces is the 12th sign. The hangman. The hangman comes in enlightened, if you so choose. Got to just start paying attention to all this stuff. And again, it's all about that Kundalini, folks. This is the spirit card of Christmas, the 6 of hearts. Okay, the 6 of hearts. 6 means completion. It's the last day of creation. It's the third eye. It's carbon. It's Virgo. Virgo's the 6th sign. Okay, so this is what this all stuff means. Virgo's the virgin. It's Mary, obviously. These are no-brainers here. And then if we bring in the major arcana of the tarot, here's the Adam and Eve. Okay, 6 is the third eye. The third eye represents the inner eye. It represents perhaps the dream. It represents the dream of life. Okay, going inward. If you close your eyes, you have to dream now. You have to envision. Maybe just the cosmos is doing that. It's envisioning all of you and I down here in this reality. And then it writes the script, and then it drafts up the play and writes it all out and writes the code, and then we come down here and become human beings. This is what we become right here. Adam and Eve. This is heavily influenced by Jewish mysticism, which is heavily influenced by Judaism. But there's, it's kind of funny because the funny part about that is that you have Eve here. You females, you run the show. I mean, I'm a subordinate to the female because I can't give birth. So, and females are, they're more empathic, more emotional. They have, they're just more loving creatures. I mean, they can be, hostile too. But if you compare it to the male's what screws it all up. The ego, the testosterone, trying to push your Mars weight around. And you notice that here I see the tree is burnt. She's got the tree here with the greenery. Well, he doesn't. He's got a tree that's completely burnt to a crisp because the male screws it all up. I just think this is kind of funny, but it's the lovers. And when you find your twin flame, when you find the one and only, and you unite, you get to this space right here, right? This is neutrality, man. This is like the bliss of life. That's how I see it anyway. And you ascend, okay? Whatever that looks like. But this is the gift of life right here, this card. Through the match of the Six of Cups, the Six of Hearts, it's the Six of Cups. This is the gift of life. He's given the gift of life, okay? This is chasing the female, but this is giving the gift of life. And that's what this is, the gift of life, folks. That's what this is. And, obviously you can look at it from a depressing standpoint, like, oh, I'm stuck here. I can't get a lot of you want to get out of here. But ladies and gentlemen, I mean, are you really making lemonade out of this reality? I mean, if you stop complaining, stop pointing fingers, turn your attention on creating your utopia, would life get better for you? Well, I mean, have you tried it? Maybe this is the message you need to hear right now, okay, to do that for yourself. But this is a no-brainer, this being the card of Christmas, tied to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, tied to Douglas Adams right here, this guy. I mean, this guy was being used to create the book series, which the BBC came out and created the show. But I mean, look at his name. Douglas Noel. No. I'm not even going to try to sing, but that was my version of it. His middle name is Noel. And look at his last name. Adams. The Adam and Eve. I mean, come on, really? You think he's maybe he's a Mason. Maybe he's a Jesuit trying to screw people over. So that's what some people believe. That these people are trying to mock you and screw you over. This world we live in is pretty crazy. The guy's a writer, and he wrote this book and his mind was not his own. Look at what his birth card is. March 11th. Same birth card as Back to the Future. Okay? Same birth card as Back to the Future. And the Queen of Diamonds, when you say Queen of Diamonds, look at what number it equals. 66. Which just so happens to be the birth latitude, longitude for Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. So 42, again, tied to Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter, Zeus, and Saturn, Kronos. The father-son duo. Right there. And this guy was being used, folks. I mean, that's not a bad thing. When you surrender to it, just like figure, okay, if you surrender to that and say, okay, I want to know what my code is, start to decode yourself. A lot of you are not living out a superstar experience. You're just too busy complaining about this world, et cetera, et cetera. And even the symbol of Jupiter is the 42. I mean, you got it right there. Right? You got it right there. And this is the Red Queen. Tied to Manchurian Candidate. I've broken that down, that movie. So let's kind of get into a little bit more astrology and perhaps the tie-ins to the Jesus Christ himself, if it was a real guy, maybe. But I feel like these ages they run like the hourglass, and you can place the hourglass right over these houses. They form a symbiotic relationship. Jesus was born of a virgin. The only virgin is Virgo. Virgo's the 6th sign. There's the carbon. Okay, so we could actually flip this. Maybe the carbon would be at the bottom. All right. And then the ruler of that would be Pisces. Jesus was a fisher of men. Maybe he's fishing people out of the sea. Maybe he's fishing people out of the carbon, right? If you're a good person, he's going to fish you out of the sea, and you're going to be somebody that he keeps. Maybe he stuffs you on the wall, or maybe you're a catch and release, and you get put back in your reincarnation. You just got to have fun with this stuff. I mean, I definitely don't want to be mounted on a wall, but anyway, that's just my humor. That's just my humor. And again, this is the birth card for the spirit card now of the Christ. And Jesus Christ is 36. I mean, if you add up carbon and magnesium, you're going to get 36. Pretty interesting, right? Carbon's 20. All right. Carbon is 20. Duality is 20. Birthday is 20. Okay, this is what we're all experiencing. Jesuit is 20. Mason is 20. Free is 20. They're all in the same cipher. See, no one gets a hall pass. So these societies that people keep blaming, you think that their minds are their own? You think that they get a hall pass? You don't think they're being used? Of course they are. You start paying attention to your script and not as much to theirs, and your life will become much more blissful, trust me. The ruler of the Piscean age would be Jupiter and Neptune. Okay? And then the ruler of Virgo would be Mercury. Mercury being the messenger, Jesus being the messenger, okay? Telling you that you have an adversary. It's called your ego, right? It's called your ego, and you got to be balanced, folks. You got to be balanced, man. Life's beautiful when you're balanced, but when you're unbalanced, it can get really rocky, right? It can get really, really rocky. But anyway, let's get into the last pieces of this. Here are the two cards. There's many ways to look at this, but now here are the two cards that represent Christmas. The Spirit and the Ego card. Now I'm going to just digress. I'm going to show you the, actually I don't even have it, so I'm not going to show you that. But these are the two cards that represent Christmas. It's the Six of Hearts. It's Spirit coming down to become man or woman. Okay? And it's the 63. And it's the 36. Jesus Christ is 36. And here is one of the cards tied to the ego. It's tied to Yaldabaoth, the demiurge. Okay? Those of you who have this Three of Diamonds, man, whoo, it's a powerful card. Donald Trump has this card. Wonder why he incarnated with that. Right? But it's a powerful card, folks. If you got this one, it forms the Trinity. But here are the alchemical elements that represent the cards themselves. This is Christmas now through alchemy. It's carbon and it's copper. They both start with the letter C. And when you say them, you get the number 53. And that's interesting because 53 is tied to, go back to Hebrew, the original spelling of the Christ. It's Joshua, but a lot of people say, no, it's Yeshua. Well, there's the 53, okay? Tied to the cards in alchemy, and you get the I. And I remember Bing Crosby had the 5-3 birthday, has the best-selling single of all time. May 3rd he was born on, singing about Christmas, singing about the Christ. It's just so comical, this reality that we live out. We add all these layers to this reality, but really what it comes down to is, are you just celebrating life, or are you complaining about it? Are you complaining about it? I know some of you, you're born and incarnated to go fight the system. I'm not going to take you away from that, but how fun is that? You know, it can be a really daunting, I think that could be a lot of hell in people's lives, having to go really be that code and fight that resistance. But anyway, these are very interesting. This 6 and the 3, there are many ways to look at beyond that. If we do the addition of these two elements representing Christmas, you're going to get 75.546, and we go right back to Lucifer. This is Lucifer in its highest numerology, gematria. It's the 75, using the compound numbers. And so, you know, is Lucifer and Jesus one and the same? You know, a lot of people that are churchgoers would say, no, Lucifer is the devil, but you can clearly see through this right here, well, doesn't look that way. Light of the world, the light bringer. You know, I think they're kind of one and the same. They're the Ida and the Pingala, the Kundalini that rises up. It's the yin yang inside of you. It's the good cop, bad cop. That's what that means. And even with Lucifer, it's tied to the speed of light. I've done 2 decodes on this, but you know, when you measure light, it's 186,000 miles a second. That's written in the script now, folks, whether or not it actually is a real thing in the science laboratory. And a lot of you would say, that's not real, but have you ever measured it yourself? No, you probably haven't. But anyway, it's written in the books, 186,000. It's tied to this element called rhenium. Rhenium has the highest melting point out of any of the elements in the periodic table. It represents Lucifer, because there it is. There's Lucifer, 75. Rhenium is 28. Lucifer's 28. No brainer. Lucifer's known as the light bringer. Okay, we go right back up here, and you can clearly see that Lucifer is tied to Christmas. Okay, it's tied right to it, just as much as Jesus Christ is. Are they one and the same? Well, you got to make that determination, not me. It's not my decision to make it. It's going to be up to you. And then if you add up 75 and 546, you're going to get 621. Why is this important? Well, that's a permutation of this right there. 621 is right in there. It's just a number anagram. It's called the permutation. Okay? It's clear as day. The numerology is iodine. Iodine is Yeshua. Yeshua is the Christ in that story context. Christmas is Christmas. And you have Lucifer there. And when you add it all up, you're going to get the 621, which is a permutation of that. So Jesus and Lucifer are tied. They're in bed together, like it or not, through this methodology. I'm not going to try to twist your arm on that. And then a few more slides left here, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have the 369. We have the spirit card of Christmas. We have the ego card of Christmas, coming down and becoming man, forming that trinity. This is the apprentice card in the tarot. You have to start creating something on the world stage right here, okay? And when you add up the alchemical aspects of carbon and copper, 29 and 6, you get 35. 35 is bromine. That's going to be the longitude of Bethlehem. But since we're talking about the cards, here it is. Here's the 9 of diamonds. This is the birth card of Keanu Charles Reeves, who was the one, Neo. Neo played the Jesus Christ character. The one that saves you, the Savior. This is Keanu Charles Reeves' birth card. And you mean to tell me the spirit card and the ego card of Christmas, which is Jesus Christ being born, is heavily tied right to Keanu Charles Reeves, who they casted to play Neo, the one. Okay? And the 35 is tied to bromine and the longitude of Bethlehem. And now we have the 3, we have the 6, and we have the 9. We have a completion here. And there's the keys to the universe. 369 being tied to the I am. I am through alchemy is 369. I am that I am. That's you. That's me. When you say I am this, I am that, what do you think you're saying? You're stating it. You are the universe. You are God. You are Jesus. You are Lucifer. You're all these characters, whatever you want to be. And it's all about this Kundalini. So, when we come down and break out these two cards representing Christmas, the 6 and the 3, we convert them to the chakras. We have 6, it's spirit, in the third eye coming down into the belly of the beast, and now in the 3 of diamonds. And now you're in the game of life. And when you say them, third eye and solar plexus, 73. And what's 73? You're on television, folks. You see, however this works, however spirit into matter works, you're in a soap opera. We're in a soap opera. As the world turns, guiding light, days of our lives. Some of these longest running television shows are soap operas. I broke soap operas down. And it's this, you enter the world. And this is the 21st nakshatra, and that is owned and operated by Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, Father, Son, Zeus and Kronos, playing out the game of life. You got the 4 fixed signs there, and we can't leave out radium, Ra, the sun god Ra, 88, because when you take 73, found from the total you're on television, and then it's the 21st prime number, and we bring in scandium, we add these up, we get radium. Okay, we get radium. We get Ra. You're going to get the 94, which is plutonium, and plutonium is time travel, back to the future. 73 plus 21 is 94. 94 is plutonium, which is on the flux capacitor. The flux capacitor was 88 miles an hour to time travel, but it's all about Ra, the sun god, and 180 plus 44, these isotopes, 226. Ra. Ra is tied to Google. Ra is tied to the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, 1600 Amphitheater Parkway, 1600 is the half-life of this element right here. It's all right there, folks, this. But you're on television, so be the star in your own movie. Be the star in your own movie instead of being an extra in somebody else's. This is all about I know thyself. At this point, you're having the Jesus Christ Superstar experience. At Christmas, as far as I'm concerned, the basic fundamentals, celebrating life. But ladies and gentlemen, I would love to hear what you saw during this presentation. Quite a long one. Thanks for sticking with me. Probably one of the most important decodes I've done to date. December 25th, 2022. And Christmas Decoded. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.